Hello, hero. It's Lucy Lannon, your favourite space gorilla. Back from the hospital, fresh off the streets. So if you haven't seen the, what's it called? Damn, can't remember my own readings. If you haven't seen what is it you're meant to know, pick a pile, highly recommend. Especially if disabled, you might want to pick pile 1. I had a bit of a mare where I had a few days off Utopia because some stuff happened that I wasn't quite anticipating. But all is well now. And in order to make up for lost time, again, seems to be the way on this channel, I will be doing like more than one post a day for the remainder of Utopia. So if you're not subscribed and you'd like more than one tarot reading on any kind of subject a day, then you know what to do, don't you? As it stands, we're going to look into your love life today. I've riffled this Manara. I've also put in some reversals because I kind of believe that we like another 78 meanings. It doesn't mean the negative. So this is prepped so that I don't drop it if I try and riffle shuffle it from, see what I mean? From this new setup where you can actually see me. Let me know down below as well, like what you prefer. Do you like to see me? Do you like to see the table, the decks, all of that sort of stuff? In my private readings, which are now reopened, link down below, I do like an overhead shot thing, but I'm willing to do things like this if people prefer it. And in terms of YouTube, there's no feedback in the comments. How is a girl supposed to know what you want? Anyway, let's get a third card, shall we? To sort out your love life. Sort out is a bit of a thing, isn't it? That implies there's something that needs fixing. Is that correct? Yes. Your love life might be like mine at the moment. Bit of a shambles, bit confusing, lots of things going on. Okay, so we have a King of Cups, which I can show. Hey, ooh, okay. Always love this deck on YouTube. A 9 of Cups, which I can show if I cover that. Beautiful deck. If you want an uncensored version, book with me. And a actually censored 8 of Swords. Damn, I don't know why my mind just went blank. Somebody's in their feelings. Also, somebody is, excuse me while I adjust. Somebody's in their feelings enough that they can't think straight about you. I think that's why my head was doing what it does. Okay. I'm not getting a particular gender, so it may just be that because this is a collective reading for a large audience, take what resonates, don't take what doesn't. You can find lots of things on the channel. I'm not going to do the spiel. It may be that you're attracted to non-binary. It may be that this is a person of either gender. I couldn't really care, but there's no specific energy around that. What there is definitely is a sense that somebody is trying to control how they feel because they're reaching a point of overwhelm or it's like getting too much. And now in my head, I'm hearing like 90s R&B, which for me, because it's not really what I listen to, it's like somebody getting sexually overwhelmed by your presence in some way. It's somebody putting on like baby making music in order to try and come in and impress, or I'm hearing to reconcile in terms of like impressing that way. To say sorry is the big vibe that I'm getting. And now I'm hearing like another level. Oh, what's that song called? I'll link it down below if I remember. But it's just like almost silly efforts because they know they've done wrong, but it's also a bit freaky. It's like a bit, oh, the song's called Freaky. I've just remembered. It's, someone knows they've done something shit and I feel like they want to fix it through pampering you on all kinds of levels, right? And my eyes watering. So they definitely feel emotional about this, but it's in a way that's inconvenient, right? Because my makeup will run if I do cry out of one eye, just the one, right? Because that's all they allow themselves. They can only get sad in really specific ways. It's almost like this is the sort of person who will schedule having feelings. And I don't mean that necessarily in a type A way. I just mean they might genuinely be so busy that there's only a certain part of the day or night that they can kind of set aside to be like, right, you can let loose now and you can sort of drop the mask and you can feel how you feel. Which for some of you, they feel quite sad. I feel like they did something bad here. I'm not going to lie to you. I think you know, but I feel like they've sort of fucked up and they're trying to come back from it, and they're not doing very well in terms of planning how to come back from it, because it's not even really like they're making plans. They're just trying to carve out the time to feel sad in the first place, because they have to put on a persona. It might be why I'm in my gorilla jacket, right? And I'm dressed like this because I've been listening to Janet Jackson all day, and then I finished with Scream and I was like, I'm going to watch the Scream video and then I'm going to change for work. And this is what happened. Sorry. But it is that sort of like, you know, performative is what I want to say, right? Scream is it's fantastic, but it's very sort of false. I will link it down below. If you hate Michael Jackson because of all the allegations and stuff, that's fine. You don't have to watch it, but some of us will watch it and enjoy it. Similar sort of feeling, if you don't want to watch that, is No Scrubs by TLC, although I'm not picking that up as a channeled, but it's just that sort of very like, it's the way it's lit and it's how sort of space age 90s it is, or space age millennial sort of thing it is. It's like glaring and garish and fantastically false. And I feel like that is the person that is either coming in for you or coming back for you, is that they are organised into a certain persona, and it's beautifully executed. It's like my favourite aesthetic, but that's the thing, is it's executed a certain way, and what they actually feel, including sorry or including, oh, I might have fucked up there, you know, because we are hitting on first time realizations for some of them, because they have to be so performative. It's like, you know, months or years later, they might go, oh shit. It's like it all has to sort of come in its allotted time. It makes me think of, I was in like a group once and we studied this thing for mental health called worry time, where you allocate yourself an hour a day and you're allowed to worry in that time. But that means that you don't get anxiety through the rest of the day, because you know that you're kind of pushing it to worry time. And it sounds like it wouldn't work, but it does, right? And in terms of people that I worked with at the time, it seemed to really help them. So that may be something you want to do, but more than that, I'm thinking like this person has almost worry time, or a time of day where they allow themselves to think about all this or feel sexual about you even. Which is kind of sad. Like, I mean, maybe this is me speaking from privilege, but I have the luxury of kind of feeling however I want, whenever I want, really. Aside from in a reading with you guys, if I'm sad, I just feel sad. If I'm horny, I just feel horny. And I feel like maybe you're that way, but your person is very like, no. Because if even a tiny bit of that is shown to people, they get punished. Punished is a weird word, isn't it? Sorry, I'm channeling a lot more than cards right now, but I'm getting a lot from spirit. I feel like the world is punitive if they let too much be revealed. I feel kind of sorry for them, I'm not going to lie. My throat caught. I feel some of you are angry at them. But there is like a... I think part of why they're drawn to you is because they know they can let down the mask when they're with you. And maybe you're the only person around them where they do feel like that. And that, it makes it all the worse that something's happened between you that's a bit, I want to say a bit naff, but it's worse than that. It's like something bad has happened, or they feel they've let you down in some way. Let's get into it, shall we? Because I'm just ranting. We've only had 3 cards. I'm just like, woo, stream of consciousness. Okay, we've got the moon, which is okay for TV. There we go. So yeah, again, instability, feeling very sort of lunar. Your person may have strong Cancer placements or strong placements in the 4th. Family may be involved in this in some fashion, whether they have a family or they're around their family so much that that's part of why they can't express. Can we get more on that? Knight of Pentacles. Again, okay for TV. It's very chaste. It's like, this isn't a chaste deck. It's one of my favourites, but it's not actually YouTube friendly, and I'm finding I don't have to cover as much because it's almost like your person is allocating time that they can think about you in such a way that there is a really brief window of sexy time or even sad time or a combination of the two that makes me feel really weird in places. But it's kind of, because they only allow themselves that, they allot that time to themselves. The rest of the time, the way they feel, the way they think about you, not feel about you, is very chaste. So that's expressing through the cards in a unusually chaste way for what is quite an explicit deck, usually. I find that really interesting. Okay, what did they do? Because this person is like... You really want me to say that? I'm hearing Crywank, right? I'm hearing a song by Crywank, but it's, I think you know why, right? It's like, it's that sort of a thing. Let's cover that. Is there anything else? We've got a 5 of Cups here. So yes, grief, regret, sad boy, sad girl feels, being deep into the feelings. I'm conscious of sound on my mic in this ridiculous go. So there may be concerns at their end about like extra noise, filtering. What is this? Right, I'm hearing signal to noise, and I'm thinking of one of my favourite comics, and it's sort of about getting the signal through the noise in terms of I want to say extrasensory stuff coming in through the noise of the universe or through the chaos of the way that things are. It's a fantastic comic. I'll link again down below if you want to check it out. It's one of my favourite things ever, particularly from the perspective of what I do. The reason it's relevant here is that I feel like your person is around a lot of noise. They perhaps have a lot of incoming opinions, or they're just in crowded places. Some I'm hearing they work internationally, or they work in an extremely busy environment with a lot of voices, and they're kind of constantly competing, and there's something about that that means that they can't tune into how they feel about you, or because this is a general reading, so a couple of interpretations, there is something about the way they're getting feedback from you, and feedback is the operative word, as in like mic feedback, kind of feedback, where it's like they can't discern what the original noise was meant to be. Because now I'm hearing someone shouting, but then there's microphone feedback, and it's all like, like, kind of. I wonder if you've cut them off for something, or there's some way that you've restricted access to yourself, which is fine. We all like good high standards on this channel. But because of that, the ways that they're trying to read you are just kind of full of noise, because they're going to places where you're not expressing yourself to them, you're expressing yourself in a much more general social media way, or in a professional work capacity, or even, for some of you, I'm hearing like in a sexy way, but in sort of niche places for that, places where people gather for specific interests and playing together and that sort of stuff. So it's like they're trying to figure you out from almost your footprint, and that's what the noise is, and they can't get a signal from it. And it's really like, but why did you cut them off is what I want to know, because that's not to do with that. This is all about their grief. Sad boy feels, sad girl feels. Sorry, I'm not meaning to laugh. I'm really not. I'm on the twin flame journey, and sometimes when the other person feels sad, you just feel angry. And like, yeah, I'd be sad too. I'm going to leave me out of it. Let's go. Right. So there is a 2 of Wands, which I'll cover here. So there may have been 2 people involved. They may have had a choice between 2. I'm seeing that the way the women here are presenting themselves is very open. We're getting back to explicit when I've asked what they've done, I notice. So, and I mean, even on the cards that I had to cover, kind of all you saw was a bit of bush, you know what I mean? It wasn't like this card where you see a lot of anatomy. So I think it's almost like chase, compartmentalise, only think about this when this. But then when we get to the nitty gritty of what they did, there's two people exposing themselves, one more than the other. One is still relatively chaste, interestingly, that could be you. And then there's like a load of people photographing this, or, oh, okay. Some of you, this won't be news to you. Take this as confirmation if you already knew. And if you didn't already know, then it's not me telling you for the first time, because I don't do that on this channel. But for some of you, there were pictures exchanged with somebody where they were showing a lot more than you would be willing to. And this person is feeling sad and sorry about that. Or that in some circumstances, there's like pictures of you shown to another person. It's all good here, right? I'm good whatever you're doing. You can come to me amorally and I will sort you out, right? Again, link in the description for specific readings. For some of you, you've been the mistress or the third party or the sneaky link, and they have shared details of that or images of that with the person that they're officially with. I don't want to say they're main, because they are the main, because I think they think about you more. But perhaps in a way that they're trying to restrain, trying to control. With that King of Cups energy, again, it's like trying to be stoic, trying to be above the water. But the water is a fucking ocean, my dude. Like, it's gonna, at some point, you're gonna overbalance, you know? And the guy on that particular card looks like someone I know that struggles with that as well. So with me thinking of that friend, it's like them trying to balance their own emotions in what they feel to be quite a masculine sorted way, whether or not they're a masculine, they don't have to identify that way, but they think they're on top of things. I'm hearing my grandmother in my head, who I just lost, and she's wonderful. And I'll probably regain her again because of what I do, if you see what I mean. But she had a very forthright way of saying about people being on top of things, or people having a good head on their shoulders, or being well balanced. She's very Capricorn. God love her. And I'm hearing in her voice as if like, you just pick up yourself by your bootstraps and you do this thing and that thing, and nothing can get to you, my dear. And it's that sort of, I think this person thinks that if they can just shake it off and get on with things, they'll be fine. But that doesn't sound like your person either. It doesn't sound like this big performative personality. It sounds like boomer messaging. It sounds like a family member who has passed on that, or someone around the work who's older or something like that. I'm not trying to be like generationally dodgy here. I'm not saying that if you're a boomer that's a bad thing, but what I am saying is that it's a perspective that's popular in a fixed place in time, and I don't think that the vast majority of you watching are interested in a person from that period. So to me it's really odd that there's this like boomery way of saying it, or even older, because I thought of my grandmother, right? And she was born in the 20s. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff coming into them about what they should be doing. And again, you notice how I drifted into their story instead of what they actually did to you and what your standards were as a result, right? There's a feeling that this person wants to distract me within the reading to how sad they are, how remorseful, maybe even how horny, when they can compartmentalise that particular activity. But actually what I want to know is, what happened with these photographs? What happened with this third party? What happened with the kiss and tell kind of vibe that I'm getting? Because that's not cool. And you know it's not cool, and I sense that might be why you're here if you're seeing this. Let's get into it. Okay, so we've got a Ten of Cups in reverse. And it's a feminine in, again, water. You know, I was talking about balancing out that sort of oceanic thing and trying to ride the wave in this really unstable way at their end. And then we've got somebody, you know, of a compatible gender in terms of this deck. So that could be you. That's not saying compare, it's just saying that I'm understanding the deck signifiers. And your persona is moving through this emotional landscape with ease. And you're still looking at mountains. You're still looking towards your achievements, towards your goals, towards being strategic, towards being grounded in the way that my grandma's voice was saying. You know, this sort of very Capricorn-y or 10th housey kind of way of relating to stuff. That is your 10 of Cups, right? Is perhaps having a balance of emotional fulfillment with material mastery. But for them, they're just trying to keep their head above water, quite literally. It's like... And the background for them is so sort of fuzzy as well. It's like, is it a woodland? Is it a tortoiseshell thing? Is it, you know, more water? Is it ripples? Is it lava? We don't know. I don't think they know where they are. They don't know which way's up. And again, I'm talking about how they feel. Oh, they're a crafty one. I'm not going to do that. What did they do? Right. 2 of Cups. I think this thing may have been with a friend or with somebody that they now feel more of a friendship for. Oh, actually, I should have covered more of that. Yikes. Sorry, YouTube. Don't ban me. I'm being chased. I noticed that this woman is reaching out for something else, and they're cuddling her from the back, but they're also kind of got her in a tight grip. It makes me think of like whatever it is that they chose. I hate that word because it's not necessarily what they did choose. It's just what they've gone with. But they're reaching for something else, and it's almost like your person is like, no, you will stay with me because I fucked this up to be around you. Ooh, scandal. I'm sorry if this is your story, guys. I've been here. And lo and behold, it all sort of came crashing down later on, you know, as it always does. No good comes from denying your feelings about shit. And then we've got the Fool. This Pinocchio imagery. Come on, lights. Change on me. Come on. We'll wait, shall we? Come on. Out of magenta into something where we can see properly. Ooh, out of magenta. Magenta makes me think of shoegaze, which makes me think that your person has been listening to sad music in their compartmentalised sad or worry time. Again, that tells me that they may wear certain different personas, different hats, because that seems very different to the King of Cups kind of energy that we had. You know, a shoegazy person is much more Neptunian, much driftier, dreamier. There's like a tenderness to it somehow, and that's not expressed anywhere else here. So again, it's like you're seeing sides of them that nobody else sees, but also that they kind of don't want to see or want to control or want to minimize. It's very like, this person needs to go through, I think they need a call circumstantially to awareness. I don't think it's going to be enough to sort of reach an understanding. And I also think they might need a bit of an awakening time. But I think with you, it's like, are you prepared to wait for that, you know? I see you as this figure with Pinocchio, and I see them as the Pinocchio. And what was I just saying about going through an awakening phase? There's a sense, and again, your person doesn't have to be male, but there's a sense of like growing up and being a real boy. And I think that what they've been doing is what they see as adulting, or doing right by everybody involved, you know, making sure they only think about this at the allocated moment, and making sure that they're faithful to the people that they outwardly have a reputation with, even if they're not faithful to you, because that's going to be the thing that keeps up this performance of I'm doing fine, and I'm doing this thing, and I'm with this person, and it's all fine. Definitely not grabbing them by the neck while they reach out for somebody else. Definitely not lying to myself about having done somebody else wrong, you know? But there is this sense of like, you can, the way this woman is leaning over Pinocchio, it's like the blue fairy. It's like you sort of waking them up to themselves, you being tender enough with them, being articulate enough with them, I'm hearing, that they kind of just relax into themselves and it's okay to be whoever they are. And that is actually the beginning of the process of maturation and awakening, which I think you're semi-aware of, because if you're on this channel and you're sort of looking for spiritual growth, you're probably quite far ahead in your emotional development. I don't want to make too many assumptions about my audience, but I feel like the vibe for this reading is that you're kind of already there. Like, you know what you want. You're not particularly going to betray anybody in figuring it out. Nor are you going to step on anyone to get it, because you're just sort of past that mindset, really. We're not at school, you know. But you're also very tender, very nurturing, very loving towards this person. You're sad that they're sad. And I think in a way that's why they're emphasizing how they're feeling through me. It's like a cry for help energy, so that you'll sweep in and be like, I'm hearing my dearest, right? It's like, are you okay? What can I do? But really, from experience, you don't want to nurture that. You don't want to enable it by being sweet and kind. It's all right to forgive, and it's all right to be loving towards somebody that you might care about or even love. But I wouldn't recommend just kind of coddling them where they are, because it seems like half the reason they're sad is that they can't just admit that they did a shitty thing, and it's probably time to apologise, and maybe in a better way than just having sex. Maybe in a slightly more mature way, maybe in a growing up and being a real boy way, because if they are a Pinocchio, they're dealing with a full-on fairy. They're dealing with somebody magical, self-aware, possibly spiritually inclined. I mean, you are here. And certainly very beautiful outside and inside. You know, the face on this character glows, which tells me it's not just like they find you attractive, but it's not just that you're attractive, it's that you're inwardly a good person, which is what they want. And I don't want to speak to the appeal of a third party type, right? Because everybody's learning, and sometimes the third parties are just as suffering as we are, right? But there's a different energy to this blue fairy type creature, right? They see you as this supernatural entity almost, versus this person who is very grounded in being person and semi-nude and a bit sort of more open in every sense, legs included, who is reaching out for something else, who hasn't figured themselves out yet. It's almost like the person that you're after is trauma bonded with somebody else who is also looking for answers, but the person they've trauma bonded with and shacked up with or exchanged pictures with or whatever it is, on whatever level, large audience, is reaching out for something else because they've come to the realization quicker than your person of like, oh, actually what I want is over there. And your person's still like, no, but I still don't know what I want and I chose you for now, and oh God, you're going to make me look bad. Ooh. That's not a good reason to stay with someone. You're going to make me look bad. It's the intention behind this. It's not stay with me, I love you. The guy in this card isn't even really looking at her. He's just like, you will not leave. Because you said you'd be here. Damn. Yeah, so they're also feeling sad because they sense that they're about to be rejected or about to be tossed out by somebody that they may have also treated as a throwaway. Or that because they treated you as a throwaway, particularly if you're somebody who talks to the divine quite a bit, I think they're getting a taste of their own medicine. And I'm not here to encourage that. You know, go to other readings about enemies and all the rest of it to see what my stance is on that. But I'm not really up for punishing people. And again, your person already feels punished. We covered that earlier. But this is more like, because you know how I said earlier, they're going to need a circumstantial demonstration in order to shift them into a realization about this. It's not that they haven't realized how they feel about you. It's that they haven't realized like how they feel about the life they currently have, that they built, right? That's their own fault. And I think that shunting into that circumstance, that tower moment, is going to come from the universe, maybe as like a repercussion of the way that they treated you. I don't feel your feelings in all of this, which is really weird because normally I connect with the audience more than I connect with the person that we're sort of reading about, right? I tap into your energy easier because you're here watching. It's almost like your person wants to talk about themselves and they don't want to acknowledge what they might have said to you, so I'm not allowed to see it. Or I'm not allowed to see how you feel about this. I mean, if you feel comfortable enough, share in the comments what happened, but I know most of you won't, and that's fine. There's just a real sense here that, like, they know they've done a shitty thing, even if it was a throwaway thing, even if you're not really together, right? Because sometimes things can hurt and you're not even really an item or anything. And again, I'm reading through a great deal of people. But there's something a bit third party here. And they regret it, not just because it hurt you, but because they sense that that person is going to leave also and have standards also, as you've done. Maybe even an imitation of you, I'm hearing for some of you. Because they sense that that was working. Jesus. Sorry, not meaning to blaspheme for those who are religious. Yeah, it's like this person has seen what they want. They're reaching out for what they want, and it's not your person. And your person's like, I'm going to be shown for what I am now. I'm going to be embarrassed by all of this. And that is their concern to an equal point of what they did to you shows me they're still in ego. They're still Pinocchio. And, you know, Pinocchio, the nose growing, the lies. This may be a person who lies to everybody. With the compartmentalization, they may be someone who juggles a lot of aspects of their life. It's taking me back to the reading that I mentioned at the beginning, the What You Need to Know Right Now, pile 2, was about like social management and potentially having to lie to different factions of friends in order to keep certain things going. And there's a bit of a dodgy undercurrent to that, which I'm sure you're aware of if this hits. But I feel like if this person's been doing that, people are going to start to talk to each other. Hot diggity damn! What's this one? The devil. Of course. There is also a realization from this person that you too are a sexual being, right? After all the chaste imagery and the sexy deck, the character stood behind the devil there. I don't know whether you noticed, but he looks pretty shocked, right? Skip 10 seconds back if you didn't see it. But he's sort of... and there's this thoroughly naked woman, and it feels more like you than the other person does. So it's almost like one of the results of all of this is that they're coming into a realization that they fancy you, and therefore, oh shit, you're a sexually independent being with your own desires and maybe even other interested parties. And they're sort of, I'm hearing the extent to which they sexualize you is the extent to which they realize that you are autonomously sexual. Oh, damn, right? That's gotta hurt. I mean, I don't know why it didn't occur to them before. Perhaps because you are kind, perhaps because you are, you know, this is coming over as quite modest. And again, I don't want to compare you to a third party. I don't want to imply that they're immodest or even that immodesty is a bad thing, because hello. But there's something here about the way that you used to come across to them, or that you do come across to them, which is very restrained. And yet in their sexualization of you, they're realizing that that might not be your private life, even in terms of them juggling the private versus the public in the way that we talked about. They're coming to a sense that you also have a private and a public, and it might not be going their way. Well, shit. See, part of the reason I don't do punishment is that everything comes back around eventually, right? I'm hearing Justin Timberlake as I say it. What goes around comes all the way back around. What a song. 8 of Wands. And when it does, there may be swift communication incoming. Particularly if this person is... I want to say in a dream state, but it could be in a... It could be the influence of alcohol, it could be other substances, it could be that they're just suddenly in a state of emotional overwhelm because they've finally realised all of this at once when something kicks off life-wise, and they start to feel out of sorts. Out of sorts, but out of sorts would be kind of cool as well, because out of their mind is the literal interpretation of that phrase, right? In terms of the sword suit. But the traditional Eight of Wands meaning, rather than the imagery which we've been talking about, is swift communication incoming, is flying arrows in your direction, is instant messenger, sliding into the DMs, hitting you up on WhatsApp, you know, whatever kind of communication you guys do. It could be Snapchat as well, because there's this really speedy feeling. I don't feel it's something public like TikTok, because that would be my everyone's platform. But it's going to be private. It's going to be possibly highly sexualized, because that card is. And it's going to be like, I've been dreaming of you. It's like, yeah, bro, but you've been dreaming of me because the world that you've built was a dream world. I'm not laughing at your person. I'm laughing with you. Oh man. I'm sorry, I shouldn't act like that, because it's not good to be resentful, particularly if you do have feelings for this person that remain, even if you're angry with them. I feel that, you know, I should be kind. We should be doing our I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, right? Final three. King of Pentacles. You'll notice the figure in the background is unseen, right? I do feel they've been spying on you. I think that's what they do with their sad/horny time. Sorry. Again, I don't know why I'm laughing. You might be laughing. It's just like, oh, really, bro? Really? They don't have to be a bro. The stars in reverse. The fact that stars is plural is interesting to me, because the star is about healing. So this is possibly you and any kind of third parties healing and moving on, and this person getting a bit left behind, a bit, you know, left back in the bushes, spying on everybody, like this cat in the background, right? And then we've got the Ace of Swords, which I feel again is you, and again it's this watery imagery. Although smoke in a pipe speaks of air, so it's like your choice of words, your air communication is drifting like smoke through a particular channel, which is very refined, very filtered. Your communication back to them in this Eight of Wands moment might be very well chosen. And I almost want to say congratulations, because you're saying exactly the right thing. Whether or not this is near future, it's like, damn, you did good. And with that emotional landscape in the background as well, it's like calm waters, still emotions. I know exactly how I feel about this. Come at me, right? Explode on me. Be the Pinocchio. See what I do. Try me. It's not try me in an aggressive way. Sorry to wear the gorilla and make it feel like it was. It's more like try me in the sense of see whether my words are nurturing or whether they're just the truth that you need, which can also be a nurturing factor. See whether I am in my blue fairy in terms of granting wishes, or I am in my blue fairy in terms of illuminating the difference between the wooden lie-telling boy and the real boy, or girl, or non-binary. I'm sorry that this was a reading more about consequences than about where you're going next, and indeed more about them than it was about you. But I think in a way that's quite fitting for a connection of some kind, of whatever level of formality, that was always more about them than about you. And perhaps this is so that you can hear me and decide exactly what those words down that pipe will be, particularly if they come to you drunk, high, party mode, or in a state because of how they feel. and they're all over the place. And while they've been controlling their emotions, I'm always wanting to smile, so there is a bit of vengeance energy here. While they've been controlling their emotions, squashing them, compartmentalizing them, organizing them into different factions so that they can sustain their reputation in all spheres, I feel that what you've actually been doing is feeling yours, consolidating yours, refining them, distilling them into what you're going to communicate next. So the result of this, I'm getting somebody like packing a trunk when they're going on holiday. It's like your person is pushing all of the feelings, all of the thoughts, all of the circumstances that aren't obeying how it was meant to fucking go, shoving it into a suitcase, trying to zip it up, trying to sort of bounce on it and stand on it and like bring it all together to like stuff it into one place, obviously in a way that's going to burst out and fail. And meanwhile, you're in this room of scattered clothes, complete mess, and you've been in this slow and careful and fully embodied process of picking up each one and folding it neatly and popping it in the suitcase. And therefore, when it comes to time where you're both leaving your respective situations for the next new thing, they're still jumping on the suitcase like, why doesn't this work? And you're rolling the last little bit of stuff, placing it neatly in the neat position that, you know, it's all there, it's all laid out, it's very sort of Marie Kondo, and then closing the lid and closing the straps, and it's like all fitting perfectly because you took the time to untangle yourself. And I think that this person almost did the opposite, if you get where I'm going with that, if that's possible. It's like they started out as Mr. or Mrs. Stable, and then they did all this shit because they couldn't speak about how they feel about anything, really, not just you. Or they couldn't tap into the reasoning for the things that they were doing. And meanwhile, you started out maybe looking a bit scattered, maybe looking like the type who wasn't going to settle, maybe not exactly being what made them look good on paper. No shade on you, we've all been there. But from that vantage point, you have, as I say, consolidated all the different facets of yourself, your life, the people around you, the people you're interacting with, privately and publicly. And what you've ended up with is a neat result that is no less emotional for its neatness, right? You're still living, you're still feeling all the fire they feel, all the emotions they feel, but the difference with you is you've packed your suitcase and you're ready to go. And I want to say I'm proud of you. Whether you choose to accept this person's apology and or extremely chaotic kind of confessional / sex attempt, or whether you choose to go your own way and just be like, I have refined over the last weeks, months or whatever what I want to say to you, and it is this. Goodbye. And then you move on to something bright and beautiful and full of stars like this Ten of Cups figure who has stars in her hair while she's in the emotional and achievey place. There's a better word than achievey, but I can't think of it. I hope that was useful to you. If it was, please like, subscribe, ding the dong, thank you kindly. If you are subscribed and you haven't hit the bell, in these trying times where things have interrupted my work quite considerably, you might want to hit that bell just so that if I do 2 or 3 uploads in a day over the remaining October time, and indeed into November, you are fully aware and alert in terms of all of the readings available to you, particularly because we're going back to lunars and stuff like that, which happen when the moon phase changes. If you're newish to the channel, there's playlists for all kinds of stuff. There's a lucky dip of the whole channel. If you don't know what kind of reading you want, you just click shuffle and the first one you come to is the thing you need. If not, there's love playlists, there's A to Z lucky dip, psychic tombola stuff. There's divining with ink and water, which we've done recently. There's readings like this where you see the title first. There's readings on a subject where you're going blind. You do you, right? There's lots to see. So do check the rest of that out, and I hope to see you soon. And now my words are failing me, it's a good time to go and let you consider yours, because I think they're going to be very important pretty soon.